Welcome, my 337 subs, everyone who doesn't like 7-footer basketball dudes who interfere in matches, everyone who believes in Joe Hendry, wrong review, and everyone who thinks that everybody dies. Welcome to my review of AEW Rampage for the February 24th show. Let's begin. First match is the Young Bucks versus Aussie Open. I think this is the second time these teams met. First one was during the tournament, I think. United Empire versus the Elite. And now we have a tag team match between the tag teams from those factions. So this was a main event paced match. It's 16 minutes long, and it's the complete opposite of like the pro wrestling Noah tag matches that I watched, where teams wrestle like singles wrestlers. Juniors, heavyweights, it's pretty much the same. The furthest we got from that sort of stereotype I gave it is the Dupree and Wagner versus Elgin and Kitamiya. I think that is when there was the most teamwork. It's all right now with the current champions, but for me the match those two teams had was something special. If only Elgin didn't steal that protein powder. But yeah, for this one it feels like there are team moves all the time. It's not as tornado as like a New Japan Juniors match, but the conventional tag team rules are pretty much broken most of the time. There's like a 50-50 split between tag moves and singles moves. Or it might just be like 60-40 favoring tags. And we don't see this a lot. Like most of the time, there was like 3 people being involved in a move. 3 or more. Some supported spots where one member is used as a launch pad by the other. Some spots where the opponent is used as a weapon. It's like a deflection. Deflection to get the other guy to hit the other guy. And of course, some innovative tag team moves, especially from Aussie Open. But some of that stuff didn't quite work. Especially 2 specific moments. Like first is like a double scoop slam, where the big man scoops one wrestler and then the other one like rides on the other wrestler. It looks terrible. I never like this spot. And then the most egregious spot for me is one where one partner is set up in a grapple move onto the other partner, and then the opposing team sort of like triggers a chain reaction to get that guy to powerbomb or like tombstone his partner in this case. It was done better here, since Mark Davis sold being groggy more, but I still don't like this spot. It was done the worst when the Lucha Bros set Buddy on Malachi. And yeah, that's still the worst because we have like a super serious faction. And Malachi doesn't even sell the grogginess that well because he's a beast. He shouldn't. The matches reach another gear when the faces and the heels each get a chance to dominate, building up to a finish that doesn't live up to the rest of the match. So the heel domination phase here. No rest holds, just tag moves. The story of the match was Aussie Open trying to break the Bucks' free-flowing type of match that they're comfortable with. They ground the match to a halt. Like we have some lariats here that just like stop the Bucks on their tracks. And then they play keep away with their awesome tag moves. Their team moves are a lot more like set up. You see everything that happens. It's not like high speed as with the Bucks. They set you up, they hit you hard, and then they put you on the floor. And when the Bucks break the strategy, that's when they start coming back. My biggest problem with this match is that Aussie Open are sometimes non-committal in like the taking of spills outside the ring, or like just like the taking of some of the moves. The way they jump out of the ring after like the spot where like it's the usual thing where the dude on the apron pulls the ropes down and then the dude in the ring like jumps over it. But with Aussie Open, it's just a bit slow. The House of Black tries to fuck with the Elite, but it's just like the lights turning off, a whole lot of nothing. It gives Aussie Open some control, but then the Elite come back. They do the shitty tombstone spot that I mentioned earlier, where a groggy Mark Davis tombstones his own partner, and then BTE trigger for the win. So top spots of the match. Number 4 is this crucifix tag team move that I've seen the Dark Order do, but here it's just 2 people. Number 3 is the sequence by Nick Jackson where it culminates with a brainbuster outside. Number 2 is the double backdrop to the apron, and then Aussie Open like do a lap around the ring and then collide both of the Bucks to each other. And then the number one spot is the lights out jumping tombstone. Matt Jackson is sandwiched, Coriolis effect, near fall pin breakup. So yeah, Bucks win, and then post-match the Elite celebrate inside. Lights turn off, come back on, House of Black are outside. And remember, there's 1 week left. The pay-per-view is next week. And then they don't touch. House of Black just disappears. They surround the Elite and then nothing happens. They don't even set the Kenny Omega versus Buddy Matthews match. It's probably going to be on Rampage, but come on, Dynamite. You need that shit on Dynamite. So yeah, this match, finish kills it a bit. It's TV main event, pay-per-view undercard. So after this is the Best Friends promo, where they're interviewed by Lexi Nair. They're being sarcastic. They're asked about their tactics for their upcoming Casino Battle Royal. They answer that they don't like interferences by 7-foot basketball giants. And then right on cue, oh the irony, they're attacked by a 7-foot basketball giant. Big Bill and the Firm take them out. They also injure Chuck Taylor's leg. This was part of the TNA Boys and the Ass Boys' plan of like dealing with each other's problems. And this was pretty good, but how is Lexi Nair not involved in this? She's dating Big Bill, and her favorite interviewees, the Ass Boys, happen to just catch the Best Friends off guard. Coincidence? I think not. So then we go to commercial, and then after that is a cold open. Orange Cassidy walks in on the devastation that occurred. Danhausen's first on the scene with 2 refs, and then Orange kind of getting serious. There was some Batman vibes here. He demands to know who attacked them, and this sets up the match against Big Bill. It's going to be on Dynamite for the All-Atlantic Championship. And I'm predicting an Orange win, but I think you've protected Big Bill too much at this point that you should definitely have him win. I don't agree with this match happening at all, but he's currently my favorite giant in AEW. Okay, Lance Archer and then Bill. But this might be the best chance we have of like Orange dropping the title. I think he's had it for a long time now. And the only way I see him beating Big Bill is if the rest of Best Friends all chip in to help. And like 3 to 4 Orange punches. I don't think you have Big Bill lose yet. Or else like what's the point of bringing him in? But yeah, if he does win, if Big Bill manages to fucking win, it's gonna be because of this picture. This face he made, scissoring himself. So yeah, after this is Toni Storm versus Willow Nightingale. And thank God, Willow is such a charismatic wrestler. Very expressive seller, and she brings the crowd to a match right away. Which is like an automatic debuff for every other women's match. Except maybe Jamie's. So the match has a usual structure. Willow might be bigger, but she's the underdog, and Tony's a cheater, and more experienced. Very convincing with the selling. Maybe second to Ruby when it comes to gaining sympathy. Very common wrestling things were done here. Nothing quite special, very TV match, with some cheating. Thankfully here it's just like the choking by Saraya. But since this is Willow Nightingale, who's a thick lady, it would have been okay for some more cheating. Unlike with Sky Blue. The cheating there was just too much and it made Saraya look weak. Spots of the match is of course, as usual, Tony's hip attack. That's like one of the best moves in AEW. It just looks so convincing. And there's clear contact there. It looks like she's actually like giving people concussions with her ass. And then like another spot in the match is the cannonball by Willow. Post-match here I think is a lot better. It's more organized and it works more since on Dynamite, heels are in between Ruby who's on stage and then Britt and Jamie in the ring. We have Ruby who's not willing to fight, who's probably just gonna let Jamie and Saraya just like walk out. Or like there's some questions on how they're gonna move on from this like setup. But here, it's reversed. So Ruby's in the ring, her main concern is to help Willow. She doesn't get in a physical confrontation with the heels. And then Jamie and Britt go for the attack. They chase the heels out of the arena. And then we close this segment with Ruby helping Willow, them being friends, very wholesome. This is the best storyline of the women's division, and not the main one. Ruby and Willow is what you should be focusing on. Ever since you dropped the ball on the main story. This should have happened earlier. They should have set up the factions much, much earlier. Where's Athena now? I don't know, she's missing. Might show up at Ring of Honor, but we'll see what happens. The first TV show is almost upon us. Might not get Honor Club though, might not subscribe. I'm already subbed to Impact, to Stardom, and to AEW on Fight, plus Apple TV, so yeah. This match is TV main event, pay-per-view opener. I like this, I like the post-match. Rampage is doing the women a much better job. So yeah, remember the last segment where the firm attacked the best friends because of an agreement made at Dynamite? But yeah, we get a continuation of this where this time the Acclaimed cut a promo. It's more basic than the best friends. I think the best friends did a better job. But they're attacked by Team TNA. But this time, instead of the leg, I guess it's the leg too, since figure 4 leg lock and then a pencil to the eye. I guess Max is going to be wearing an eye patch for the match. Hopefully at the pay-per-view as well. Makes things interesting in how things will play out, and I hope they play with the eye patch. Have one person come from the direction of the damaged eye, then have the injured person not being able to see that. Also play with Max Caster's depth perception that you need 2 eyes for. And also Lexi Nair is involved with that interview as well. It's about a 20-minute gap. Why couldn't Lexi have warned them? Or maybe they knew and they didn't care. But yeah, this was alright. Nice payoff for the segment on Dynamite. So after this is the Jade Cargill promo. And it's just there to put her over, to remind people that she's still there. We don't really get a direction with her, but yeah. That was pretty much it. Whole lot of nothing. It's like the Hobbs and his book promo. It's a whole lot of nothing. So after this is Lance Archer versus Jobber. So this is a better squash match than I expected. He's there with Jake Roberts. The Jobber runs up to him, tries to catch him off guard, but he destroys him. And it's not like the Powerhouse Hobbs style of squash where it's just him doing the moves. Archer's more of a babyface type and savors every moment. He plays to the crowd as he kills this guy. Finish is a hard lariat for the win. But yeah, hopefully they do more with him. We'll see what happens. So next is the Dustin Rhodes and Keith Lee promo. So this sets up for the match with Swerve and Parker, I guess next week on Rampage. Dustin cuts his old man promo with a very movie voice. It's very simple. Swerve and Parker accept, and I'm predicting a face team win, but Swerve wins out in the end. And so after this is the pre-match interview with Mark Henry, Action Andretti, and JAS on the other side of the screen. So Danny and Sammy are already on the same page. Danny's seriousness is balanced out by Sammy's just comedic timing. The man oozes charisma, Sammy does. Action, on the other hand, was not bad here. It's a bit too shouty. It's still like he's performing in a play, but he's getting better. This is the best promo he's cut so far. Just needs to sound a bit more natural. It's a bit below Darius Martin, but a whole lot hell above Dante. So there's been enough talk. It's time for the main event! But before the main event, we get one more promo, and it's the Stokely and the Firm storyline, where Stokely sets Hook up against someone in the faction. And instead of it being Big Bill, like the obvious choice, who would totally destroy Hook, he alludes to Ethan Page. It's heavily hinted that it's Ethan Page, but Ethan Page deflects to Matt Hardy, who, my God, is trying his best to make things work, with so much enthusiasm that I don't think Matt is trying to tear the faction apart from the inside like I thought at first. I think it's more of Cassidy. Cassidy is Game of Thronesing his way through this faction, while Matt is sincere. But yeah, he gets too enthusiastic that in proper comedic fashion, in sequence, they up the stakes just because Matt is feeling a bit more confident than usual. He's so confident that they try to build up this stipulation that if Matt loses, Stokely gets a match with Hook where everyone's banned at ringside and is no DQ. This was segment of the night. They're winning me over with this whole thing. And I think this can go for another pay-per-view cycle. And yeah, Ethan Page is even convinced. He's taken up by the hype and then screws over his boy Stoke. But yeah, very good promo. It's right up there with the Danielson and the Starks one. So yeah, after this is the main event. Sammy Guevara versus Action Andretti. So this match is even. It's not the usual structure since it like picks up pace, picks up gear at the end. Also not a spot fest since the 6 spots are well spaced out. It's not like a high-speed match or anything. And as for Daniel Garcia outside, he channels Zelina Vega when he like poses with Sammy as he does his taunt. Like the one where he basically does a tranquilo without doing a tranquilo. Danny's like right behind him on the apron doing the same pose. Sammy's the one who's brought out the sports entertainer out of Daniel Garcia. And that's awesome. This might be why Andrade and Sammy fought. And Sammy and Action Man, they just have the chemistry. And Action is at his best in this match. Like, we have this spot where he delivers like a full running forearm. And then Sammy takes it a bit too well. Looking at the pictures won't do it justice. You're going to have to see the match. And just the stuff they pull in this one. Some honorable mentions are the superplex when I think it's Action runs up the top and then superplexes Sammy off in like a fluid motion. Another honorable mention is this springboard clothesline from the guardrail. And another is Sammy's like clotheslined out, but before he hits the floor, he lands on his face on the apron. And then top 3, number 3 is the 450 off of the apron. So it's a shorter drop, and then Action manages to do a full 450. Second spot of the match is a backdrop DDT by Sammy Guevara. Nice move. This can only be done with like more agile dudes like Action. And then number 1 is the finish. It's like Daniel Garcia goes for a lariat on Action off of the top turnbuckle. But from the outside, it looks like a better one than Takeshita does, honestly. Since the one that Takeshita does, we visibly see the dive. This one, it's like Action's just hit, and then he's like conveniently set up in a GTH position. This should be in the next game. This was awesome. So the finish is GTH, Sammy Guevara wins. So post-match is just JAS celebrating, and then no attack, no Starks, just JAS on top, taking their wins before Starks beats Jericho again, unless he gets help from a certain captain. So yeah, fun episode of Rampage. It could have been better. We could have had more interactions with House of Black and the Elite. That was maybe the most disappointing thing about this whole show. And I like the storyline consistency between the two teams in the 4-way. Like they mentioned on Dynamite, they're going to deal with each other's problems. And then that segment of the night, without being given too much, in the wins or just in plain TV time, after weeks of just like terrible shit, The Firm and Matt Hardy deliver in this one. And plus, no match was really bad. Last match is, I think, like TV main event pay-per-view undercard. Real good show. Hopefully it shows in the ratings. And hopefully it's not true that the Elite are so fucking hated, so fucking overly hated, that just them being on the show tanks ratings. So yeah, thank you for watching. Bye-bye.